Hello, everyone. My name is Brian Hamilton. I am a therapist trainee at LifeSource Affordable Counseling in Riverside, California. I wanted to make a tutorial video for all of you on how to use Roll20, which is a platform that allows you to play tabletop role-playing games online. I have used this platform quite a bit with my younger clients to help them with social skills, problem solving, and how to interact with other family members. And I wanted to share with you some of the tips and tricks I have learned so that you can use it with your clients if you so desire. So let's get started, shall we? Okay, so this is the default screen that you'll come into when you first sign in to Roll20. There's a number of links up at the top. This is basically just your home screen, any games that you currently have running, marketplace where you can purchase additional maps and adventures. This is tools that you can use in the game, and then also these are community forums that can help you if you're running into any problems. For right now, we're just going to go ahead and create a new game. So I'm going to click on this button here. And the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to give your game a name. So for this purpose, I'm just going to go ahead and call it test game. And then another thing you're probably going to want to do is use a character sheet. There are a number of character sheets that are already built into Roll20 that you can just select from. Personally, I'm going to use Hero Kids for this particular demonstration. I like this one because it's a pretty intuitive and simple role-playing game, but it also gives you a lot of flexibility in terms of what the characters can do and what the different creatures they encounter can do as well. So we'll go ahead and select that, and then I'm just going to go ahead and say, I'm ready, create game. And okay, so you can see we've already gone ahead and created the game. If you want, you can go ahead and create a banner for your game by just clicking on the Choose a File button here. You can invite players using their email address. If you have clients who are really young, you can go ahead and talk with the parents and have them use their email address. They can sign in. You can assign characters to multiple characters to one person, so that shouldn't be a problem if only their parent is the one that's been invited. But you can go in here and just check out some of the other settings that are available. You can delete the game, copy it, take a look at the chat archive, that sort of thing. But yeah, so this is basically what you will see once you have created your game. So the next thing we'll go ahead and do is we're going to click on Launch Game, and we'll start creating a map. Okay, so this is basically what you will see when you first log into Roll20. You'll see a white screen with a grid overlay, and you can kind of zoom out and you can see how big this one is. The initial default is basically this is a 25 by 25 grid, but you can always change the size of it by clicking on this little looks like a page toolbar thing up here, and clicking on the gear icon next to the map. So you can see here's the width and 25. You can adjust these up or down, tell it how many feet each grid cell represents, whether you want the grid over the top of it or not. If you take this off, then these little gray lines will disappear. You can change the color of the lines, and you can restrict movement. I'm going to go ahead and put this in. This is going to be something that we talk about a little bit later, but I'm going to go ahead and check it right now. So click OK. All right, so to go ahead and edit our map, we want to go ahead and switch to this map and background mode. That way we can start placing things down here. There's 4 layers. The map and background, this is where you put like furniture and maps and trees and that sort of thing that the characters interact with. Objects and tokens, these are where basically the players and the creatures that they encounter will place their tokens. There's the GM info and overlay. This is where you can place things that you don't want your players to see right away. And then dynamic lighting, which is something that we'll talk about a little bit later as to how, which allows you to put in lighting sources and that's light sources and that sort of thing. So for right now, we're going to go ahead. We're on the map and background. And there are a lot of resources that you can find online for maps. Basically, all you have to do is type in whatever you're looking for, followed by the word battle map. So if you look up like mountain battle map, volcano battle map, you should be able to find what you're looking for. Right now, I'm just going to go ahead and use one of the maps that are already put in as part of the basic sets. Let's see, where are they? I think they're under dungeon tiles. Yeah, here we go. So we're going to go ahead and just use this shallow pool. Just drag it right over here. And you can see right now it's really small. So we're just going to go ahead and drag it to size. Come on. And you can see that this map actually has squares that are already part of it. So like this little marble floor here, but it's not matching up with the grid overlay. So what we're going to do is we're going to do something where we align it to the grid. So we go into here, we go to advanced and click on align to grid, and you'll get this little message up here. And basically what you want to do is you want to just highlight a 3x3 grid that's already on the map. So there's 3 squares there, all the way down to there. And we'll click align to grid. And now you can see that each of the squares are aligning with the gray grid that's already on the screen. So let's go ahead. We're going to zoom out just a little bit more. And we'll move this over here to the corner. And as you can see, there's a lot of this white space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 8 squares there. And this is, let's see, 3, 6, 9, 11 squares there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go in here and we're going to reduce the width by those 8 squares. And then we'll make the height 11. Click OK. And now you can see it's eliminated all of that white space. So that's all you have to do to put a map in there. And the other thing you can do is you can always add in other stuff like, as an example, you can come up here and you can search for other items. So I'm just going to go ahead and search for a torch. And we'll go ahead and we'll just grab this one, throw it down here on the map. And you can see I'm going to reduce this to a single square. And then there's a little tool thing up here that lets you rotate it. Once it turns into a crosshair, you can just turn it around. So we'll just go ahead and, put this guy down here. But one of the things to notice, you'll see, is it aligns to the grid. And let's say I want to put it on this wall here, which is kind of in the middle of the grid. What I want to do is come in here and take the grid off initially. So I'm just going to disable the grid for a moment. You can see it goes away. And I'm just going to move this right up against the wall, like so. And then when I re-enable the grid, it stays where it is, but it still puts the grid overlay. So we're just going to throw in a few more of these little torches here. Actually, no, we're just going to leave the one because we're going to come back to lighting in a minute. But that gives you an idea of how you can place items. And again, you can look up all kinds of things just by searching in this little graphic art library here. There's all sorts of resources that are available through Roll20 that you can just throw down on onto your map, and the players can then interact with it. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at lighting. All right. Okay, so the next thing we're going to talk about is lighting. And one of the tools that Roll20 gives you is the ability to create lighting conditions and light sources within the game. This makes it so that if a character doesn't have a torch or vision that allows them to be able to see in the dark, you can represent this in game. So the first thing we want to do is we want to come up here to this page toolbar, click on that. And while we're here, let's go ahead and change the name of this to more accurately reflect the map that we're using. And then what we want to do is we want to click on page settings. And this is where we've already gone in here and seen this for purposes of adjusting the size of it. But what we want to do is we want to click over here on dynamic lighting. And we're going to go ahead and turn that on. There's a few other tools here. I usually like to turn on Explorer mode. This basically makes it so that even if the characters can no longer see an area they've been in, they still essentially have a memory of the area. So it appears in black and white, even though their character currently cannot see that particular area. Daylight mode is great if you are doing something outside, like a forest. Since we're doing the inside of a temple, we're going to go ahead and leave that unchecked. Update when token dropped. This basically, if you're having a lot of lag on your computer, this makes it so that the lighting calculations don't happen until you have let go of the character token. So GM darkness opacity, this basically allows you to be able to see through the darkness as the game master or GM, which you will be as the storyteller with your clients. So we'll just go ahead and click OK. And so now you can see it's kind of gotten dark. And again, this is because this is the opacity of the room based on what the game master sees. And what we want to do first is we want to build a wall around the temple, because this black space that's out here isn't something that the players are going to want to, or that we were going to want the players to be able to interact with. And as you may have remembered, when we went into page settings here earlier on, we put on this restrict movement. And this is what's going to be able to, this is what's going to allow us to put in a wall and restrict them from being able to just walk through it. So, okay. So in order to do all this, what we want to do is we want to go into the dynamic lighting layer. And we want to go ahead and draw a polygon shape. I usually like to use something kind of bright like this purple or green so that I can see what it is that I'm laying down. And then what we want to do is just kind of start drawing around the edge of the map. So we'll just start by dropping a point right there, coming over here. And as you click on each and every single one of these like corners here, you can see that it draws a line between the previous corner and the new one that you just clicked on. So curves are a little bit crazy, but you just basically just kind of slowly move around it. Doesn't have to be perfect, just enough to kind of keep them from going off the map. They're not going to see this. They're just going to see the. They're just going to see that they can't get through it. And so just slowly moving around the map. And then last but not least, just connecting it up to that original point. And you can see now it's created this wall. So now, the next thing we're going to want to do is we're going to want to add some light sources in here. So let's go back to our map background. And remember our little torch that we put in here. Oops, let's switch the tool to the arrow there. So we'll just go ahead and click on that. And what we want to do is just actually double click on it. And it brings up this. And so again, we want to go into the dynamic lighting tab. There's a bunch of different tools here. This is basically the vision tool for your characters. If they have night vision, they can use that. This token, we wanted to say, emits a light. So we're going to go ahead and say emits bright light. And we'll say that it emits it out to a space of about, let's say, 5 feet. And then it has another distance of about 5 feet where it emits low light. You can set it as directional if you want. In this case, we're not going to because it's just a torch, so it's kind of going all in different directions. But you could basically set it so that it has a particular angle from where the light source is coming from. And then you can see down here, it's already automatically calculated how much total light it gives based on what we put in here for the bright and low light. So we'll just click Save Changes. And now you can see, it's a little hard to see, but you can see there's this little aura here around the light that's basically showing you how bright it is. And it doesn't really give off a whole lot of light there, so we're going to actually just go in and adjust it a little bit more. We'll say this is 10 feet. 10 feet, save. And you can now see that the aura has adjusted again. So we're going to go ahead and say that's pretty decent. So we're going to say Control, and then we're going to copy this. So let's go ahead. You can let's see, copy it up here, and then paste it. And then that way you can just keep the same functionality of the light and place it wherever you want. And I'm just going to come click down here, put another one. Oops, let's get that little crosshairs there. And then we'll come over here. Oops, moved the map. Turn that around. And then last but not least, we'll put it right there. Now we have some light sources here in the room. Let's put one more down here at the bottom of the map. Oops, come on. And as we mentioned before, if it's trying to put it on a half grid or halfway through the middle of a square, you can just turn the grid off momentarily. Move it where you want it. And then turn the grid back on. You should be good to go. All right, so our room is now lit. All right. Okay, so the next thing we're going to want to do is go ahead and create some characters. What we want to do first is we want to go up to the Objects and Tokens screen, so that way whenever we create a character, we can place it on place our tokens on the right space. And the next thing we want to do is come over here to the journal, click on that, and you can see right now it's just a blank space. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add a character. And we're just going to go ahead and call this character Warrior for right now. And we're going to go ahead and put in a picture to go ahead and represent the character. Just give that a second to load. There she is. Let's see. We can say who can see her. So we could say that this is in all the players' journals, but that only one player can see, can actually move her around on the screen. And then we'll just go ahead and save changes. So there she is. Next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and adjust her character sheet. And this is the character sheet that's used in Hero Kids. I don't know why it's white. It usually is kind of got a nice beige. There it goes, beige background there. So you can see here we've got the screen for it. And let's go ahead and expand this. Actually, I'm going to just real quick, what I did there is you click on this and it takes it and it makes it into a separate window. So that way I can expand it a little bit. And what I'm going to do, just drag this down here, is I'm going to use the statistics that are in the Hero Kids RPG rules for this particular character, and we'll just add those right into this sheet. I'm going to put this on another screen. And then so we'll come over here and you can see the melee, and we'll just go ahead and check that off with the 2 dice. Check off the armor with the 2 dice. This character can take up to 3 damage, and then we'll go ahead and put in the special attacks. Adjacent target. Whirl, wind attack. And then teamwork. All right, so we finished that. And the last thing we want to do is give the character some equipment. So in this case, the character has 2 potions, some food, and the tracking ability. All right, so that is basically our character's sheet all ready to go. Next thing we want to do is create a token for this particular character. So let's come back in over here to our library. And I'm just going to go ahead and add the female warrior that we just uploaded here to the screen and use her as our character. And what I want to do is I'll go ahead and click on the gear. And we want this to represent the warrior. And we can say in here that this represents her attack. Actually, I think these things don't quite update correctly. So we're just going to type in 2d6. She's also got 2d6 armor. And we're going to say that she has 3 hit points and use that. And then this would be if we wanted to give her some sort of an aura, but we're not going to worry about that. What we're going to do is we're going to come over here to dynamic lighting. And the important thing to do here is we want to give her vision, because otherwise the computer will treat her as blind. If she had night vision, we could go ahead and turn that on, and that would allow her to see within a certain radius, even if there's no light source. And then I don't know, I think this is basically saying that, like, if they only have the ability to see out a certain distance, like 30 feet, for some reason, like they can only, like, if they're like, they can only sense things based on the tremors that go through the earth. They can we can limit their vision to, they can only sense those tremors out to a space of 30 feet. She doesn't emit light, but if she did, we could go ahead and check that. So that could be something where if like a character has a light source, you could go ahead and check this. And again, telling it how much light or low light or bright light or a low light it emits. But we're just going to go ahead and save the changes on her. So there she is. She's out there in the world. And what we want to do next is we want to tie her to the character sheet that we just put out here. So we're going to go ahead and click on this again. And we're going to go ahead and click on the edit button. And then down here where it says default token, we're going to go ahead and say use selected token. And then we're going to click save changes. And what that does is that from now on, whenever we put her token out on the board, it'll show all of the stats that we just put in into the character sheet and attached to the token. You can also add funny little things onto the token if you want to remind yourself of stuff. So for example, you might add little color tokens to represent, like if you've got 4 soldiers and they're all basically have the same stats, you could use these to distinguish them from one another. You can also do things like this one, the character's dead or unconscious or, different statuses. This might be they're seriously wounded. So there's a bunch of funny little things there that you can do. The next thing we want to do is just go ahead and create something for her to combat. And so what we want to do first is we're going to create a folder here called characters. And you can see now she's been, she's not in that. So we're going to take her and just drag her right, there you go, right into the folder. So now she's in characters. And then we're going to create another folder that says creatures. And let's see if we can move this down. Oops. I move this down below. Or move this up. There you go. Okay. So now we've got our creatures folder. And we're going to go ahead and create a skeleton. So let's go ahead and change the name here. See if I've got a skeleton that I can upload. I don't. Okay, so we're just going to leave that one blank, no big deal. I think. Let's see, monsters. Yeah, we'll just leave it blank for right now. And we're going to say that this one can only be controlled by the GM, that none of the players can see it. And we're just going to go ahead and save the changes for that. And again, we're going to go to the Hero Kids mod or RPG, and we're going to go ahead and try to use the stats that it has here for the skeleton. All right, and let's just use, we'll use this skeleton warrior here as our skeleton. All right, so let's go ahead and pop this back out again. Give this guy the armor and melee. I don't know what these are. I think these are just mistakes. They shouldn't be there. So just go ahead and ignore those. And then we're going to go ahead and give him the slashing strike. Okay, so there is our skeleton. And then we're going to go ahead and say that he has the 2 hit points and he's ready to go. So the next thing we want to do is we're going to go ahead and create a token for him as well. And there are actually tokens for a lot of the monsters in the freebies, the free assets that are available here, but you can also just go online and find creatures that will fit what you need. So let's see, we've got a bunch of different skeletons here. We're going to go ahead and select the skeleton warrior and just drop him down there. And just like before, we're going to go ahead and say he represents him. Oops. And he has what? 2d6 to attack, 2d6 for armor, and he has 2 hit points. And you can use these for any ability that you want. So it doesn't have to be the order that I use, it's just what I use. If we want to go ahead and give him vision. A lot of times creatures have night vision, so we could go ahead and in this case he doesn't, but I'm just so you can kind of see what it does, I'm going to say that he has 60-foot night vision. Let's see, so there's that. And I'm going to go ahead and save changes on him, and you can see that he's now there. And oops, I wanted to take a look at his basics. The other thing you can sometimes do if you want is show the nameplate. So we'll just click on that. And you can see now it says nameplate, it says skeleton, and you can do the same thing with the characters if you want. I'm not going to do it for the character because that would mean that I'd have to go back and reconnect her to her token, but we'll do it for the skeleton. And then what we do is come in here, and just like before, we use the selected token, save the changes. And now we have something for our little fighter to attack. So. Okay, so now that we've got all of our characters and everything created, what we're going to do is we're going to just show a little bit about how they can interact with one another in the game. So first of all, I want to show you real quick. I'm just going to click on this character and I'm going to press Control L so that I can see what she sees in terms of lighting. And as you can see, there's these big black spaces here where she can't see because the lighting of the torches isn't reaching. So one thing that would be kind of fun is to be able to just go ahead and take this guy and throw him right over there. And when you look at it, she can't see him because he's in the dark. So something we can also do there is place him on a GM layer so that it's not something that the players can see at all. So like if we were going to go into click on her, go into the gear icon here and say rejoin as player. Let's see, it takes a minute for this to load up. You can see he doesn't even show up on her screen because he's on a completely different layer. But as the GM, Game Master, you can see him and can move him about if you want, kind of sneakily, so that she can't, until you're ready to reveal the character to the other person. But for right now, we're just going to go ahead and come back over here, and we're going to assume that she didn't see him, and we're going to move him right up here next to her, and then we're going to drop him back down onto the token layer. So, oh my God, there's a skeleton right in front of me now. Okay, so now we can go ahead and do combat with these two characters. And there's a few different ways you can do it. You can go ahead and just wing it, which really Hero Kids encourages. But you can also come in here and add their initiative in. So usually this is for like Dungeons and Dragons. They do have an initiative order. But let's see. So we can come in here. We could add in skeleton. And then we could also add in warrior, add, and we can give each one of these a initiative order if we want, and then we can sort them by their initiative order. So it looks like that. So right now we're going to have the warrior go first. So we're going to click on her, and we're going to go over here to her character sheet, and she has a few different abilities that she can use. She's got this slashing strike, which is probably the thing that she's going to want to do because she's only attacking the one character. So in order to do this, what she wants to do is she wants to roll a melee attack. And you can see over here, she's got 2d6 that are part of her melee. And there's this little button over here with it looks like a 20-sided die. So we're going to click on that. And when we come back over here to the chat box, you'll see that her character has rolled to hit the monster, and right now it shows 2 different hits. Let me see if I can roll again so that you can see it above my character there, or above my picture of me there. Okay, so you can see she rolled a 2, she rolled a 4, and she rolled a 0. And that's because this last one, because she didn't actually roll anything because she's only got the 2 dice. But the way that Hero Kids works is that you roll a certain number of dice indicated on your character sheet, and you use the highest roll. So in this case, she rolled a 4. So in order to defend against that, our skeleton over here has to use his armor, which again, if we come into here, we can see down here he's got 2d6, so we're going to go ahead and roll that. And I'm going to roll it again twice as well, so you can see what he's rolled. And he rolled a 6, which is higher than 4. So he was able to successfully defend against it. So now we can come over here to the initiative order, and we can say, okay, it's the skeleton's turn. So now the skeleton is going to go ahead and attack her using his melee and roll that die. And again, I'm rolling it twice so you guys can see what he's rolled. He rolled a 1, and she has rolled, let's see, we're going to have her roll her dice and say, let's see, she's probably going to defend against his 1 there. In fact, she did. She rolled the 1. So, okay, so, and then we start over the initiative. And just so we don't get too crazy, I'm just going to go ahead and roll her melee and show you, she got a 6 here. So now we're going to have the skeleton roll his defense. And let's see, where is he? Down here. And he did defend, but we're going to pretend that he didn't. Let's try rolling it again. And we'll say that he rolled this 5 here, right? So let's say he rolled 5 and she rolled a 6. In that case, what basically would happen is she would score a hit against him. And in Hero Kids, if you score a hit, they just subtract 1 from their current hit dice. So we'll say that he now has 1 hit point left. And you can see his little health bar here has adjusted to show that he only has 1 hit point. And so that's the basics of combat within Hero Kids. And there are other things that they can do. So like, for example, if she had taken damage, she can use some of her potions to heal herself. So like, we could come in here and come down, and you can see that she's got a potion of healing, and she could uncheck one of those to indicate that she's used it and heal up her hit points. So that's the basics of using Roll20. If you have any questions, you can always feel free to leave me a comment in the comments section, or email me. My email address is brian.hamilton@affordablecounselingservices.org. All right. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you were able to find this information helpful. Take care, everybody.